Hello and welcome to another round of the Pokemon TCG. Today we're featuring Decidueye Swampert. So what do these guys do? Well, Decidueye here, he's really here for his Feather Arrow. Once per turn, before your attack, you may put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon in any way that you like. So he can sit there on the bench and just snipe away. He does also have this attack for Razor Leaf, which does 90, can be handy at times, as you'll see in one of these matchups, but he's really here to snipe away from your bench with the Feather Arrow. And Swampert, well, he's our big hitter for the 1 prize card of the deck. He is here for a draw power as well, so once per turn, you may discard a card from your hand, and if you do, draw 3 cards. But Hydro Pump, this does 20 more damage for the times the amount of water energy attached to this Pokemon. So he starts at 80, but if you got 3 water energies, it's already hitting for 140, which is quite nice. HP 160, tough Pokemon to take down for 1 prize card. I really like the Swampert here. Now originally when I built this was really based around a Swampert main attacker, so I did have an extra Swampert in deck. What I really quickly found here was the Alolan Ninetales that I had sitting here just to be able to quickly get some candies with its power here of putting 2 item cards into your hand when you evolve it, put some candy in and get my stage 2 Pokemon up and rolling. But what I found was Snowy Wind was a really good attack that combines quite nicely with the Decidueye. So Snowy Wind's here does 70 to the active, 100 if you got a choice band on it and it's a GX Pokemon, but it also does 30 to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon, so we can start bench sniping really nicely here. So what I did was I changed out to Fairy Energies as my basic Engie here, and I've got the Unit Energies for the Fire, Grass, Water, so I can get either the Swampert or the Decidueye up and rolling with their attacks if I need to. The Super Boost Engie is really good as well, because if you've got 3 stage 2 Pokemon up and rolling, this Engie counts as 3 Engies and of any type. So it's really good to be able to suddenly put a Boost Engie on a Swampert and you're hitting for 140 straight away. Put a Boost Engie onto a Decidueye and you're able to attack with Razor Leaf straight away. So a really nice Engie to have up and going when you've got this deck rolling. Now I do have my draw supporters here, so I'm running with 4 Cynthia, 2 Lily, a Titanizer for some switch support as well, and some Professor Elm lectures just to try and get some Pokemon up, basic Pokemon up in the early game if possible. What else I have is I've got my Nest Balls, Timer Balls and Ultra Balls to try and get the Pokemon that I need. I'm running 4 rare candies. It is a stage 2 dependent deck. Running a basic switch here. I really like having that switch item card. Can really come in clutch through the game. I'm running an Acerola. I ended up putting this in because there was a couple of matchups here and there that I found, hey, if I had an Acerola right now, it's going to be really, really handy. So the Acerola is sitting in here now. I took a Guzma out by memory to make room for that because the Guzmas I just did not need quite as many of. So, shall we begin? I think we shall. Hello and welcome to Decidueye Swampert. Hello Mr. Benox. Nice to see you here. Alright, looks like I'll be going second here, and let's see what I get as my first hand. Not a bad hand, not a bad starting hand at all. I'm able to put a Vulpix, a Mudkip and a Ditto down turn 1, like before I even start. Yes, I am going second, so that's a little bit disappointing. He is giving me at least 1 mulligan to give me an extra starting card. What's he running? Can't really tell off that. I do have the Lily for draw support, have a nice Timer Ball as well in hand all ready to go. And I do have the Ditto down as well to be able to get a Alolan Vulpix no matter... an Alolan Ninetales no matter what here. Assuming that obviously I draw into the Alolan Ninetales. So, and I will be able to beacon on my first turn, which is good. And it's about deciding whether or not he's going to be able to take me out turn 1. He's very likely, like on the next turn, turn 2. He's very likely, I'd say, being able to take out the Ditto, because I'm assuming this is going to be a Weavile. What's the evolution of this? Honchkrow deck. So it's about damage spreading, because then the Honchkrow really powers up right now. So this Sneasel is going to be that Weavile, I'm assuming, that's going to be about... it's going to be about spreading the damage to anything that has a ability. So the Ditto is probably going to be KO'd turn 1 here, which is less than ideal. We're going to Lily on this turn just to get me 4 to see what I can get up. The Ninetales is really nice. We are going to Nestball my way into a Rowlet. So I have got a lot of what I need right now in hand. He'd be wanting to Marshadow a Judge on the next turn, but I am going to Beacon here, and that Beacon will be for a... I doubt the Ditto's going to live. I'd be really shocked if the Ditto lived here. So I'm definitely grabbing a Swampert. I've only got the one Swampert to use. I really feel like grabbing the Dartrix here is pretty good as well, because that way I'll be able to evolve the Ditto into Dartrix if Ditto is still alive. So we'll see whether or not he has got the Weavile that he needs in hand to be able to evolve that Sneasel up and really spread the damage. Well, that if he does, he's spreading it right now to this Ditto, and that's about it. So it's not spreading it as much as he would like to spread it. He is Ultra Balling. This could be for that Weavile. If it's the Weavile that hits just the one Pokemon, it's probably better. So no, he is going after the Weavile, which will hit every evolution. The one that hits the one Pokemon, if it hit just the Alolan Vulpix right now, that would probably hurt me a lot more. Because this turn, not that he realises this, I should be able to evolve the Vulpix up to get my Alolan Ninetales. I should be able to Rare Candy straight into a Decidueye, straight into a Swampert, and really get myself set up ready to go. He's going to be able to KO the Ditto this turn, which is annoying. I kind of wish I didn't have the Ditto turn 1 anymore, but I don't mind my position here still, although he's going to damage spread first. That's an interesting call. I wonder if he realised that. Oh well, so what we're going to do is we're going to get my Ditto straight to a Dartrix on this turn here. We are going to have a lot of abilities soon, so that's probably what he's planning on, is using that against me, the fact that I'm about to have a lot of abilities on the field, which is probably a smart way to do this. So we are going to go to the Alolan Ninetales. We're going to pull in 2 rare candies here. So I've got 4 in deck, none of them are prized. We are going to get 1 Decidueye up and running, and we are going to get Swampert up and running as well, as just that extra draw support. I really feel like Fresh Hand would be pretty good here. Don't have a lot that's great. Now I'm assuming that Weavile is probably going to hit me pretty soon, which isn't going to be good for me, and that Honchkrow is going to hit hard. So I need to start taking some KOs pretty soon from somewhere. I feel like a Power Draw, get rid of the Choice Band because he's not going to be running any GX Pokemon in this variant. And I've got another rare candy if I could get something else up. I don't think I can right now. I've got the Guzma for next play if it's handy. I don't think it's going to be. I've only got 2 stage 2. I could get a 3rd stage 2 up soon, which means I desperately need to find my I forget what it's called right now, the energy that gives me 3 energies. We are going to Feather Arrow. I really feel like bringing that Weavile back into range is going to be really important. So if he does spread that way, yeah, bringing that Weavile into range is super important. I'm assuming that's what's going to hit me next turn. So hitting that Honchkrow is probably pretty good as well, I feel. So we're going to hit the Honchkrow as well, just to damage spread that a little bit better. So now if he brings the Weavile up front, although Honchkrow would probably be getting the KO just about now, I think. So 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, that's 110 damage right now. So he's not quite getting the KO with the Honchkrow this turn. So I'm assuming this is where the Weavile will come out to be able to put a heap of extra damage on my Swampert and my Decidueye and my Ninetales here. So this is really going to hurt. But have that Honchkrow really within one-shot type of range, which is concerning. I need to probably be able to get after that Honchkrow a little bit. I feel like the Honchkrow is probably the most dangerous here because it can one-shot me. So if I Guzma to the Honchkrow, what am I hitting with afterwards? That is the question. We'll time up all first and see whether I can get a, yep, so, double heads. Not that I really need it right now. I'll pull my Decidueye in, I'll pull probably the Ninetales in here. So we're going to Decidueye here. I feel like probably putting the unit energy down is about as good as I can do. Power draw. What don't I need in this matchup? I probably don't need the candy anymore. I do want to keep the candy. It's dangerous just throwing away candy like that. I don't want the Ninetales. So I did not pull in the energy card that I was hoping for. So what do I do here? I think I've got to start getting my Swampert up and going. So this is a KO here. I could probably KO the Tapu Koko as well. I don't know how I'm getting a Swampert up and going next turn. Oh, I should have actually kept... Yeah, that is a point. Oh, I can Rescue Stretcher, so that's alright. So what I might do is I might set up another Vulpix here, because I can get the Rescue Stretcher to that Ninetales the next turn, which is going to be clutch, because I feel like that's going to be my next attacker. So right here, do I take out the... So 40, that's 70. I can't quite get that Honchkrow, so the Alolan Ninetales is gone next turn no matter what I do here. What I can probably do is take out that Sneasel, which is probably going to be the most important here, so he can't damage spread as badly. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to Feather Arrow to this Sneasel. I kind of want the Tapu Koko as well, but beggars can't be choosy. And 20 to each is going to be better than everything on my Pokemon with abilities, because basically everything I run right now has abilities with them. So the Guzma, I'm not going to use the Guzma here. I have put my energy down. That's for my next turn. So I feel like this is how I play it right now. I get my next Alolan Ninetales up and running to... Yeah, so a Snowy Wind here. We hit the Weavile, we hit the Sneasel in here, so he can't spread the damage as badly for the next turn. We do have to really take out that Honchkrow as quickly as possible, especially since I'm getting shrined right now to death as well. Although the Tapu Koko up front actually does probably make a lot of sense, because right now that Honchkrow, like, he can just retreat to anything he wants anyway. So I've taken 2 prize cards. This is I feel in a semi-confident position. It's gonna be tight because I'm only taking 1 prize card per Pokemon, where he is going to be able to take 2 prize cards per Pokemon. Having an Acerola in this deck would probably be good for this particular matchup, so I could pull out, you know, something that's got high damage on it already. Having the Guzma in hand I feel is good, so I can Guzma through to that Honchkrow so he can't hit me quite as hard. And being able to take out that Tapu Koko next turn just via my Decidueyes is really good as well. In fact, I don't even need to use the Guzma. If he doesn't take the Tapu Koko out of the active, I don't actually need to use the Guzma here, which is good. That Hooper up front could be slightly annoying, although I really do think I need to target down that Honchkrow ASAP. That is super, super important to me. I can... Oh, he's going to fly and flip. Okay, that's interesting. So I can take out the Tapu Koko. I'm just doing some maths. Oh yes, I've got the Super Boost NG, which is absolutely clutch right now. So I can take down the Honchkrow and the Tapu Koko on this turn, which is huge. And if he puts the Hooper up, he can hit for 80, which is enough to take down the Swampert. Maybe I go after the Hooper. Oh, I really feel like the Honchkrow is super, super important that I take that off the field. And I need to take out the Tapu Koko off the field as well. Putting another Rowlet up is only good if I do get myself another Decidueye. I feel like that is probably the way to go right now. And I'm thinking that I leave the Super Boost NG right now and I go after the Honchkrow. And I go after it. So I'm hitting for 70. That's 100, so I need to get at least one of them onto it. Hang on. 40, 70. Yeah, that's still only 100. So I need to Guzma this turn if I'm going to go after that. And I feel like that is super important to me to do, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring my Alolan Vulpix up here. I kind of don't really want to bring another Alolan Ninetales to the table. Another GX Pokemon to get burnt by the Shrine. But I'm feeling like doing that is better than retreating manually right now. So that's what we're going to do here. We are going to Rescue Stretcher out my Alolan Ninetales back into hand like this. Just so I've got a different attacker up front. And I feel like... Yeah, I'll put 2 item cards in my hand, why not? I feel like a manual switch is probably handy. And I don't really need the candy right now. So maybe an Ultra Ball so I can deck thin if I need to. And I feel like probably playing the Power Pad right now is pretty important to get the Guzma back in deck. We are going to get rid of the Shrine because that Shrine is hurting me right now. Let's Power Pad and go and put the Guzma back in deck like this. And I've got the Super Boost Energy, which is going to be absolute clutch against that Hooper pretty soon. So what I'm doing now is I'm Feather Arrowing. I need to use one Feather Arrow on the Honchkrow. That is super important to pull that up to within range of my Ninetales. And I'm going to use the other Feather Arrow on Tapu Koko. So that's now within range as well. So I can still... Is it within range? Yeah, it is within range. So now the Snowy Wind can take out both of these. Get a 2 prize card turn. The Hooper's going to come up front, and what I now need to do is get my Swampert up in this turn with a Super Boost Energy and take down the Hooper, and then see what he has in the back line to support it after that. So at this stage I've done a really good job of, I think, of protecting myself fairly well, so he can't get a KO this turn with the... Oh, okay, he can't get a KO with the Swampert, and he's just given me game, so well played. And Hydro Pump, and it's done. He just basically gave me the game. Thank you very much. So yeah, that was a good game. That damage spread variant, it's understanding how that the opponent's deck worked was really important there, and not being able to allow him to, start smashing with that Honchkrow. But it was pretty scary because that Weavile is pretty devastating when you're just running nothing but abilities. So yeah, good game, good game. Alright, hello Cherry Potato, and welcome to a Swampert Decidueye deck. And you are playing a water variation of some kind. I didn't see what the other typing was because I wasn't really paying attention. Really need to start paying attention on that first screen so I can see what they're actually running. So I'm going second. I do have a Vulpix in the active, which is nice. It means I can beacon first turn. Do have a Nest Ball. It's not a bad starting hand. It could be slightly better. One of those Cynthias could be a Professor Elm's Lecture instead, but I will take the hand that I've got. So I really should have paid attention to what, because he just mulliganed, didn't he? What he was actually playing. Oh well, things that I should do, but I just haven't. Let's see what we have here. So yes, I will draw an extra card. Now I'll sit back and watch his Poipole. So this is a Psychic Water, I think must have been the two typings. So I'm assuming that you're going to be playing Quagsire to shift energies around here, because I do like that variation. I do play Quagsire decks quite a bit, and Poipole's it's just a natural pairing with the Quagsire, because your energies in the discard, you just pull them back and then you send them to the active, to the front line, then you just start beating down on your opponent. So going with a Swampert variation himself. Now this would be quite dangerous if it pays off. I am assuming that he's going to have the Quagsire to really pull this off. So it does mean that I need to get up and rolling pretty quickly. Is he playing a Vulpix to help him get these Swamperts set up? Not by the looks of things. He is playing the Quagsire like I thought he would. So that Mudkip, well, that Swampert, if it does get going, is going to hit hard. So he is trying to get it evolved in a couple of turns. So I think right now we've got to Nest Ball and go and get me a Rowlet. I only have the one Mudkip, which isn't great. I do have 3 Decidueyes, so that's good. A couple of Ninetales in there, so that's good for me. I don't have a way. We'll chuck them on. We are going to Cynthia, just because the rest of this hand just isn't quite what I need right now. Excuse me. Alright, so I could Ultra Ball here and get another Pokemon down. What would that Pokemon be right here, right now? I don't really know. Plus, I'd be spending too many important resources to do so. So I think I'm just going to Beacon on this turn. I'm going to go and get me, obviously, the Ninetales. I do have the Decidueye in hand, so that's fine. And I think we go and get me the Mudkip. Although a second Rowlet would be good as well, but yeah, the Mudkip. Excuse me for a sec. Okay, coughing fit over and done with. So this Swampert is going to be hitting for probably 140 turn 3 at least. It could be hitting for a little bit more, which isn't great. So the Mudkip goes down. I feel like getting the Decidueye up as an attack is going to be pretty important in this game. So we are going to put you down. We are going to go to the Ninetales just to get me a rare candy. And a Nest Ball, I feel, is probably the 2 most important right here, right now. Do I have the Super Boost energy in here? Yes, thankfully. Because the Decidueye could be really key. So we're going to go and get me another Rowlet. We're going to rare candy this one through a Decidueye. I do get the Poipole this turn, which is good. Do you think we Cynthia and see what we have to play with? Double Decidueyes, and no way to get it to no rare candies. Alright, so what do I think is more important that I take down? Probably the Quagsire. I think the Quagsire is super important because it can shift energies to the front line at any stage. So let's start hitting this Wooper and beating up on this. And Snowy Wind to the Wooper still. And then my next job is to see whether I can get this Decidueye up online as an attacker, not just a bench sniper, really. So, I wish that was kind of like some candy. That would have been really good for me. I don't get as much value out of my Alolan Ninetales this turn with the Wooper up front. So, what would a top decking a rare candy would be pretty good, I think. I do need to somehow work out how I'm taking that Swampert down. What's he going to nest ball into? A Poipole. So, do I target the... I think I do go after the engine of the deck more than anything else. So if you keep going after things like Wooper... Does he have the Quagsire? He may have a Quagsire. Like, a Quagsire right now would be good for him. Because then he could attack the Quagsire, but then he'd lose all the energies. So I really do think putting this on the Decidueye, and let's start getting this up and rolling. Right now I think the Timer Ball, I think we evolve them the good old fashioned way. Nope, so I get no value out of that whatsoever. The Professor Elm's Lecture, what am I getting for that? Probably a Vulpix. Yeah, so let's pull in the Vulpix. Probably should have pulled in the Ditto as well, just so I had that. How much do you need to attack? So you need 2 more energies and then you're one-shotting, so that isn't going to be quite ready next turn. I do feel like taking out the engine of this deck is... In fact, I do feel taking you out because it means he has to send something else up front. Yes, let's do that. That is super smart. Take out the Wooper, force him to send something else up front and get more value out of my Alolan Ninetales attack. So that has just become a 2-prize turn. That is super good for me. Now, I'm feeling like, so that's doing 80. So... plus the 60, so it's doing 140 right now. He would have to get a lot of energies back in play to be able to get that one-shot KO. So what would I need? 70, 140, I need at least one on that. So I'm thinking that I actually go with the Snowy 20, so that'll be a 90 next turn. Plus the 30's 120, so it's not getting to the Swampert range anyway next turn. So I think we Snowy Wind and we hit in on the Poipole. Because like I said, I don't think I'm going to be up to Swampert on the next turn anyway. And let's start putting pressure on his engine again. Hitting the engine of Dex is really good. So, and I've got the Guzma, so that could be a good play as well. It gives me some flexibility. I do have a Cynthia in hand. I kind of wish that Timer Ball brought me at least like 1 heads, because then I'd have a second Decidueye online next turn, and unless I draw myself into either an Alolan Ninetales, an Ultra Ball, or another Timer Ball which somehow gets me ahead, I'm not going to have the Decidueye up next turn, or a rare candy obviously. So what is he going to do? I think that was really smart because that gave me a 2-prize card turn. I got maximum value out of my Alolan Ninetales attack. I'm a little bit... I don't know, I'm a little bit surprised that he sent a Mudkip up. He doesn't want to attack the Swampert just yet, which is also interesting. So he's going with... He's wanting to one-shot, I'm assuming. Unless, of course, he is going to Guzma, because he could be going after the Decidueye, but he's nowhere near the Decidueye yet either. So that is interesting. He doesn't have the Quagsire to send things to the front line, which is good for me. So he's not going to be able to put me to sleep. And the Abomasnow is going to take a couple of turns to take down, which is unfortunate for me. But I could, if I wanted to, go the route of Goosemaring and then retreating back out. I would waste an energy and an energy attachment for the turn. But it could be a good way to force his hand just a little bit more. And I think that might be the way to go. Really put pressure on that Swampert maybe. Because that would put 70 onto it. Decidueye would put it to 90. And it puts it within one shot range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 180. Needs one more water energy and it's got the KO on Ninetales anyway, so it's going to get that KO. But then I'm going to have the Decidueye up. I did get the Ultra Ball, which is good for me. Don't think I'm going to get another Decidueye, so let's get rid of the Decidueye. I'm thinking getting rid of the Guzma, although get rid of an energy. But then I can't guarantee I'm going to have Decidueye up online next turn. So I'm thinking getting rid of the Guzma, because right now the Guzma... Yeah, let's get rid of the Guzma. Try and get maximum value by going with the Alolan Ninetales, because the Alolan Ninetales can then go and get me a rare candy. Do I have any candy left? Yes, I do. I've got plenty of candy left. So it's definitely the Alolan Ninetales that I'm going for on this play. To then go and get me some candy. So 2 item cards, yes. I'm going to go and get me some candy. Maybe a Timer Bomb. See whether I can manually get Pokemon up. Yeah, let's go candy and a Timer Ball. And see whether I can manually get one of these Mudkips up at the same time. So we've got a heads. We are going to go to the Marshtomp. Yep, because that's good for me. So the play right now is to go to a Marshtomp. We're going to rare candy to the Decidueye. We're going to put a energy onto you. We are going to Cynthia and hope I draw into another energy. Yes, good. So I could have actually done... oh well. So I've got a Swampert up online next turn, which is good for power draw. Can't attack with Razor Leaf just yet, but if he puts the Swampert in, that's going to be KO'd. So the Decidueye, that's 40. I'm attacking with 70, so it's putting... yeah, 70 damage on the bench. Any way I like. I think 40 plus 70 is 110. I'm not going to take the Abomasnow down this turn. So I think we just keep going after the actual engine itself. We just keep taking this Naganadel. So Feather Arrow over here. And now we go to a Snowy Wind. We hit this Naganadel again. And really put a lot of pressure onto the engine of his deck. So he's going to have to get the Abomasnow out of the active. Now, he's not going to be able to one-shot the Decidueye this turn, because it's only hitting for 180 right now. And I couldn't imagine, although he could get a Choice Band as well, which puts it 210, which means he'd need 2 more energies to one-shot that Decidueye, and that would be pretty clutch for him to be able to one-shot the Decidueye out of here, because that's taken a fair bit of time for me to get up and going. I do have a Super Boost energy which will be usable from the next turn. He's going to go after that Alolan Ninetales, which is interesting. I do have the switch card to get out of here. It's got 6. He does need either a Choice Band. It's going to EXP share, so he does either need the Choice Band or another Water Energy on Swampert to take out the KO this turn on that Alolan Ninetales. And if he doesn't take out, so he does have the other water energy, so that's good for him. This Decidueye though is coming out for the one shot this turn, which is really good for me. It's taken down another Alolan Ninetales. It took down Alolan Ninetales I wasn't really too worried about, so that is fine. We are going to Power Draw. I'm not sure if I do have another Dartrix in deck. Sorry, Decidueye in deck. I have a feeling I don't, so I'm going to go and get rid of the Ditto here. It's a big call. Get rid of the Ditto and then I'll get rid of the Dartrix as well. Don't think I need it. That Super Boost NG is good. It does mean that I can attack with Swampert as well. I've got a Guzma in hand. I've got pretty much everything I could possibly want. We are going to Feather Arrow. You've got the one shot already, so let's take out the Naganadel. Feather Arrow to the Naganadel. Let's just slowly take out his engine. So that gives me one prize card here, and I'll get the second prize card through the Decidueye with the weakness attack. And that is good for me. So one prize card remaining. He has got a lot of work to do. He's got another 4 that he needs to somehow get. He's only got 1 energy on the board, full stop. I really do think this is a very commanding position for me. I've got the Super Boost NG to go as well. He has put a Pokemon that isn't going to get one-shotted by the Decidueye, but I could Guzma, I can switch right now. Got a Super Boost NG. I am feeling really, really good. So I'm thinking taking out the Volcanion is a little bit more fun if I can do that. At 80, I can only get to 140 right now, so that's not going to be possible. So I think probably the Guzma play is, although, hang on, the Decidueye, that brings me within range. I've got to remember about that. So right now, 2 Decidueyes, that brings me up to 130, so I do need a manual switch still. Yep, I've got the 3 stage 2s, so that's fine. It is 3, isn't it? Yep. So that does a fair bit of damage this turn, which is okay for me, because what I can now do is, let's first of all use my Feather Arrows just to bring you down within range. So Feather Arrow. And then Super Boost Energy, we will switch and we'll let my Swampert see some action. So we will Hydro Pump now, and that is game. Alright, what a game, what a commanding position I was in that deck. Just like I said, the advantage of these Decidueyes is you can really start targeting down their bench Pokemon. So if they've got an engine on that bench, you can really cripple the engine, and it really makes decks like that hard to roll. So yeah, really good, really good. Happy with that. And it is time to rate this deck. So what do I think? Well, let's start with attack. Now the attack here, you can't really rate this as a 10 out of 10 because you are two-shotting Pokemon. That's really the strategy going after, especially GX decks. But it is a real nice combination here. The bench sniping that the Decidueye provides, in combination with the Alolan Ninetales, who's bench sniping as well with an extra 30, that really combos nicely in the early game. And then once you're up and rolling, you might be able to hit a little bit harder with something like a Swampert, up to about a 140 with a Choice Band, that's 170. You do get an extra Water Energy as well, that can be, you know, quickly up to 190, and GX Pokemon are starting to go down. Obviously I'm thinking about using the Super Boost Energy and maybe a Unit Energy with that. But yeah, the attack's really nice, but you really are trying to two-shot decks. But you can really damage and cripple decks in the early game if you can get the Alolan Ninetales Decidueyes up in turn 2. So damage, I'm giving this an 8 out of 10. It's not one-shotting anything, but it can be crippling because like if it gets going up and going early. So, defense. Defense, I really like this deck quite a bit. I think that's where the strength of this deck probably lies. The Ninetales at 200, that can be a tough number to get to one-shot for a lot of Pokemon. I would prefer it to be 210 because that just brings it out of range of some attackers like a Blacephalon. It forces them to use an extra an extra energy to get it down. But hey, 200, I can live with that. That's a pretty good starting defense. The Decidueyes here, they're the ones who do all the sniping from the bench. It's something that a lot of opponents need to probably deal with quite quickly, but 240 is just difficult to overcome. I know that, you know, I wanted to build a Decidueye deck because I was struggling with some of these Decidueyes at times because of that 240. And then the Swampert for one prize card, 160, that's good. Alright, that's tough to overcome just for one prize card. So the defense is where this strength of the deck probably lies. So I'm going to give the defense here a 9.5 out of 10. Unfortunately, it does have some crippling weaknesses at times to things like Blacephalons or Fire Pokemon, which I tend to see a fair bit of with the Blacephalon running around. But yeah, definitely a solid 9.5 out of 10. Now, reliability. Reliability really surprised me in this deck. I expected, because I was running with so many Stage 2 Pokemon, for the reliability to end up getting stuck quite a bit. But I found at least the balance that I had with the supporters, the trainers, and the power of this mysterious guidance from Alolan Ninetales. Oh, it's such a good ability. It just gets this deck up and rolling super consistently. Not, you know, perfect, obviously. It is a Stage 2 deck. It does come with Stage 2 difficulties at times, but yeah, the reliability really surprised with that. Giving that an 8 out of 10. Doesn't get stuck anywhere near as much as I would have thought. Definitely a solid 8 out of 10. So, overall, what do I think? I'm giving this an overall rating of 9 out of 10. It is so much fun to be able to snipe away from the bench with the Decidueyes, combines with this Alolan Ninetales beautifully in the early game, and then come home hitting hard with a Swampert or something like that in the late game. A lot of fun to run, difficult deck to overcome, giving this a solid 9 out of 10.